Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here tonight. I was able to watch World War III in 1997. I will honestly tell you that World War III from 1995 and 1996 were a little bit underwhelming, honestly, in my mind. They just didn't live up to the hype of what I remembered. But I will tell you that tonight, when I watched World War III 1997, this was a freaking awesome battle royal. Of course, this being 1997, we are in year 2 of NWO versus the WCW, which is the number one storyline going in to this pay-per-view. At this time, we are setting up for Sting versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan at Starrcade of 1997, which would be the pay-per-view after this. We also have there's lots of things going on in the undercard just involving the NWO, WCW, and things like that. But that is the basis of World War III, is that they're trying to base this off of the NWO versus WCW, even though the NWO, I believe they only have 5 guys inside of World War III. Buff Bagwell, you've got Scott Hall, you've got Virgil, you've got the Macho Man, and you've got Curt Hennig going up against 85 guys. And Tony Schiavone even talks about this, about the odds when the guys are making their way towards the ring, basically saying that this isn't going to be much of a fight. If this is NWO versus WCW, basically all of the 85 guys should gang up on the NWO and throw these guys out. Does that happen? No! Does the NWO make all 5 guys last until the last 10? Yes. And unlike last year, the 1996 World War III, when you just basically had the NWO stand in the corner and nobody came at them, and they didn't come at anybody else, and they just stayed fresh until the end of the match, they were involved. I mean, one of the best spots of this whole World War III is basically the NWO trying to eliminate Rey Mysterio. Of course, everybody knows from the Royal Rumbles as of late, like Kofi Kingston has a streak of Rumble appearances where he tries to do a high spot, basically trying to stay in the Rumble. He got thrown out of the Rumble and was able to keep his feet on the steps. He was able to be thrown out of the Rumble, carried around by the Rosebuds. What the heck was the Rosebuds guy's name? Shoot, I forgot his name. But there was the year that he got thrown out, and he was attacked by Rusev, and I think Rusev power bombed him on the like sort of barricade, and he jumped from the barricade back into the ring. And then I think one year he ended up on the announce table, but I don't remember how he ended up getting over there. But basically, the NWO was beating. They were doing everything in the world to try and take out Rey Mysterio, who just kept on hanging onto the ropes, hanging onto the apron. He would not fall out of the match. We would not get out of there. This year's Rumble, and I apologize. This year's World War III started out with the gimmick that basically the Giant, who had been in the NWO and had left the NWO to get a title shot, he was looking for revenge, and this was one of the ways he could get it. The Giant, although he was not Sting, he was not Lex Luger, he was one of the forefront guys of being on Team WCW. This guy got into the ring, and although he had been attacked prior to World War III and had his hand taped, and they were saying that he had a broken hand, he threw out like 4, maybe even 5 guys in no time at all. I mean, he was just going after everybody. When this match gets down to the nitty gritty, we're down to having the NWO, Buff Bagwell, Macho Man, Virgil, Perfect, and Scott Hall. Then you've also got Giant, Luger, Stevie Ray, Rick Steiner, and DDP representing WCW. At this point, basically, they're trying to get everybody into one ring, in the main center ring where the WCW guys are, but the NWO guys are still hanging out to the ring off to the left. And at that point, we basically see a stalemate where they're just like saying that you guys got to come here, you got to come here. Scott Hall instead attacks Randy Anderson, the referee, throws him out of the ring, and challenges WCW to come to them. WCW basically was ready to take the fight, and they stormed in to the NWO's ring, led by Diamond Dallas Page, who hits a DDP Diamond Cutter on Virgil. The place pops, everybody goes bananas. Everybody fights. We get down to what leads to be the final four. Macho Man, DDP, Giant, and Scott Hall ends up being the final four here. We get to a point where everybody's beating each other up, and Macho Man ends up being eliminated from the match, and this leads us to now DDP and Giant versus Scott Hall inside of the ring, 2-on-1. Scott Hall retreats from the ring. He jumps into the main ring. Now we're back into the center. When he hits that, he hits the good old WCW NWO pose towards the thing. We see the NWO music pull off. Everybody thinks that it's Kevin Nash, who had not made an appearance in World War III, did not come out with their team. People were thinking that he had a knee injury at this time, but instead, Hollywood Hulk Hogan comes down to the ring. A fresh man for the NWO, the grand master plan. I guess anybody can enter this ring at any time they want to. Tony Schiavone breaks this down, that the NWO's plan is that Hogan is going to win World War III. Hogan will beat Sting at Starrcade, and then there will be no number one contender. The number one contender from this World War III is supposed to go on, I believe, at Super Brawl, and get a title shot for the title, because the Sting and Hogan title match had already been named. What we see here is once Hogan gets into the ring, Hogan picks up the Giant, body slams him right in the middle of the ring like it's WrestleMania 3. And at that point, we see the NWO is gaining the advantage, and we see the man from the rafters. We see Sting rappel down. He doesn't come into the ring, he comes to ringside. Once he gets at ringside, he jumps into the ring. At this point, Scott Hall throws out DDP, so we're left now with the Giant, who is attacking Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and Scott Hall. At this point, once Sting gets into the ring, Hollywood Hulk Hogan runs for fear. He eliminates himself from World War III because he does not want to face the man Sting. Then Sting takes the baseball bat and he attacks the Giant with it. And Giant falls out of the ring. Sting retreats down to the ring, and then he pounds the Giant's hand repeatedly with the baseball bat. At this point, we are acknowledged that Scott Hall is all alone in the ring. He is the winner of World War III, and at that point, Sting removes his mask, revealing that he is Kevin Nash. The NWO has one-upped us once again. At this point, Scott Hall earns a title shot. We are set up for Sting versus Hogan at Starrcade in less than a month. And we had a really good Battle Royal for WCW. I think that out of the three I've watched, this has been the best so far, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys check it out for the NWO versus WCW.